So, hey guys, welcome to Becoming, and we are inviting a lot of guests, and we are sharing their success story for us to get some inspiration. And have you ever wondered anybody being very, very successful across all the spheres? Today, I'm going to bring in a very, very special guest, and her name is Shika Gupta, and she's a HR leader, executive certified a DNI, global speaker, corporate mentor, career coach, trainer, podcaster, French expert, YouTuber, TED Circles host, president of WICCI Karnataka HR Council, chapter head, woman power, founding ambassador, supporting Saturdays, leader of Lean In Circle, global HR leadership. So can you see that one person can wear many hats and still be happy, still be very, very successful and handle home as well? She's going to be a huge inspiration for all of us. And I'm going to have Shika Gupta on screen. Welcome, Shika, on the show. There's a lot of things to read, so I have just cut short. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation, Shika, and I welcome you on the show. Can you quickly introduce yourself? Because there's a lot to read about you. I thought instead of me reading, I want you to introduce about yourself, Shika.
First of all, thank you, Vimla, for having me on your show. I mean, with the awesome work you've been doing over the last few months, years, it is an honor to be with you today. And thank you for that introduction. Seemed like, it's a lot. But yes, that's also true. I mean, each one of us, right, needs to know how to balance life and work. Women can do anything because they have the power to do anything, right? Anything and everything, right? Even the power to give birth to a life, right? So that's women, which men don't have. So we are always superior, right? I've been in HR. It's been good 18 years, right from my first job to today. Currently, I'm heading the talent acquisition portfolio for Winwire Technologies. And prior to that, I've worked with a lot of IT products and services companies, Wipro, Oracle, OnMobile, Tally Solutions, and now Winwire. So that's been my journey, and pretty much nonstop, right? From one leap to the other, leap of faith every time, right? You move from, it's like stepping stones from one to the other, second, third, fourth, life goes on. Then, yes, at the same time, like you rightly mentioned, there are challenges. Everybody faces.
But I'm still so surprised, and I'm so curious to understand how do you wear so many hats and still manage family, and you look so beautiful and fresh and happy as well. And how do you do that?
What drives me is passion towards anything, Vimla. I mean, whether it's your HR career, whether it is youth empowerment that I'm associated with, women empowerment, a lot of other stuff, Lean In Circle. I mean, a lot of other stuff that I keep doing. You just have to know how to manage time, number one, and I think set priorities in life. I have so many friends, colleagues in my circle where, it's a given that the woman has to take a back seat. Why? Have this frank chat with your family members that if the son of the family is important, the daughter of the family is equally important. She's as educated, as independent, as qualified as your son, right? So she has the right to live the life of her dreams. She has the right to do whatever she wants to do. And I keep my weekends busy because all that happens outside work demands a lot of time over the weekends, right? So Saturday, Sunday, helping job seekers or women in distress and doing a lot of other initiatives. So it really comes from passion. If you want to do it, you will find time. Everybody has 24 hours, just like me, right? All of us. But we need to manage time and we need to manage priorities.
Shika, I
That is
find Shika, I find every woman is passionate, but they come up with a lot of excuses. I feel that we always say that you should have that it factor. Okay. If you're driven, they're also driven, they're also passionate. I've been coaching few women in the past few weeks. Everybody comes up with some excuses and they give reasons. Uh, for them, it sounds very genuine, but only few women make it to the top ladder. Very few make it to the extent that they really want to. Very few women expand. Very few women accommodate many hats. What do we say to such women who give a lot of excuses and they believe their excuses?
See, it's like this, when you get up every morning, you have to live the day, right? And you have to make a choice whether it's going to be a good day or a bad day. You have to live the day. You have to decide what is the mood that will set the tone of your day. Similarly, you have to decide what mood do you want to set for the tone of your life, right? You really have to figure out, see, there are these difficult conversations that you sometimes have to have with your family. If there is a crisis situation, why should the woman take a back seat? It is she who's compromising. Not that I have not faced such situations in life, but you have to have a hard chat. Sometimes it's somebody else, sometimes it's me. I am an equal opportunity person, right? I mean, if you keep making excuses, or if I had a very recent dialogue with one of my colleagues from a different organization, that the child needed support. I said, why is it always the mother? Why do you have to quit? Why can't you have a dialogue with your husband and say, let's manage. It's just a matter of 6 months. Let's manage the situation for 6 months. Why do you have to quit? Because you have decided that the child is your responsibility and you are willing to take that back seat. The whole family is okay with it. You're very right in saying, Vimla, that women have passion, women are driven, but women also compromise very easily. Why? Why is your career, your education, your salary, your dreams not important for your family? It has to be that way, right? In any family, wherever you have a son and a daughter-in-law, always the son is important. Why? Then why do you expect to get a daughter-in-law who's educated, who's independent? Marry somebody who's not. She will never have any dreams. She will never have any aspirations. She'll become a pure homemaker. She will look after you. She will look after your son. She will do all the household chores. But no, when you want a girl, you want somebody who's smart, up to date, modern, independent, educated, and then you don't let her do what she wants to do. How depressing, how curbing can those feelings be for a woman? So excuses are a way to pacify myself. They don't do good to anyone. They're doing only good to me because I believe I have to take a back seat. I have to look at family. I have to compromise and so on and so forth. That's it. It is I who's taking that stand. And sometimes people will tell you, I'm sure people would have told you, no, my family situation was like that. No, it didn't permit me. No, but why only you? Why is your husband not thinking along those lines? Why are your in-laws not thinking along those lines? Why is your other support system not supporting you to manage that crisis situation or whatever the situation is? Why do you have to quit and say, okay, I will shut off my dreams? Why? Because you decide that way. Okay, okay, nobody is doing, okay, I will, this is happening, that is happening. Yeah. That is not me. And I keep telling everyone, as a strong woman, you have to stand up for yourself. If you don't help yourself, nobody can help you. But it's just the truth. God helps those who help themselves. If you're not willing to stand for your rights, for your career, for your own dreams, who else will? You yourself are not convinced. For you, other things are more important.
Shikha, very interesting to listen to this. And I would strongly attribute these qualities to the upbringing of a woman. Very few women can talk like this, can walk the talk, can fight for themselves. So, can you share something about your childhood, your upbringing? What makes you to be so strong? I can connect with whatever you're saying because I was brought up in a family where I was respected as a daughter. I was given the freedom to choose whatever I want to study. And I was born with four brothers, and I was given all the respect in the family. More than love, I received a lot of respect in the family. So I had a lot of choices, even though it is a very conventional middle class family. But I was the first woman to come out of my family and work. So I could sense what you're talking. I could connect with what you're talking. That I have to stand for myself. I can speak up when I need to. I can fight whoever it is, whether it's a husband, whether it's a boss, whoever it is. I know my value and I can stand for myself. So, what do you think, and how you were brought up, and what gives this kind of confidence in a woman from the family from where they are, growing up? You need to share that.
Sure. Even before I answer that, Vimla, it's such a dichotomy, right? There are so many women who leave their careers or who take a break or who drop off in between. And some point at later in their careers, they come and join women empowerment initiatives. You were not able to stand up for your own self, right? How do you think you can coach or mentor or fight for some other woman? First, you got to learn to fight for yourself. Whether it's a situation at home with your family, whether it's a situation at work, be outspoken and say, boss, this is the truth. This is what I can deliver. This is what I cannot deliver. You are being reasonable or you are being unreasonable. This is what it is, right? If you don't speak for yourself, who else is going to speak, right? As far as upbringing is concerned, I mean, God has been great. Parents have been very kind. We are just two, my brother and me, and he's 3 years younger to me. So it's been a beautiful childhood. I mean, we've got equal opportunities. If my brother could, say probably party till 10, 11, or 1 o'clock in the night, right, with his friends, so could I. There was never a differentiation between, oh, she's a girl and he's a boy, so you should give the boy more freedom and you should give girl the less freedom. In fact, I got more love than him, and he's always jealous. He always says that in Hindi, you have got 3 years of extra love than I have. I said, your fault, man. You were born 3 years later, not my fault. And I'm the first child of the entire family, both paternal and maternal on both sides. And we left India when I was very little, 6-7 months of age. And we globe-trotted for about 24 years and then came to India. So it's been a very nice, globally rich life, seen a lot of places, a lot of countries, cultures, people, interaction. But our parents made sure if the son can party till 1 o'clock, so then can the daughter, right? If he can choose that he wants to become an engineer, she can choose if she wants to go into marketing or HR or whatever she wants to do, right? So for me, my parents were my career coaches, guides who knew what I'm good at, what I like studying, what I like doing. And they said, probably, what you should go do HR, start reading a little about it. And I started reading about HR, I think in my 12th standard itself. Fascinating stuff, fascinating articles. But I think the fact that both of us were given equal opportunity, there was no differentiation in the way it is. And different countries also give you different challenges, right? Not every country has Indian culture, not every country, they all have their different cultures, different lifestyle, adapting to it, adopting the right things, adapting to the right culture, going alone, taking a bus and going to school alone in a foreign country, doing things alone, becoming very independent. This is Just do it. We are there. I mean, fall 7 times, get up 8. So you always have parents who are your strong lifeline, who are a strong backing in your life. Anything that you want to do, go do, explore, take risks, go on adventures, do what you want. But don't cross the lines of morality, so-called, quote unquote. Beyond that, the world is at your feet. Do what you want. And if there is a problem, we are there to support you.
Wow.
As much as we support anybody, we'll support you.
Wow, this is solid example for all the parents. That's how, if you give that kind of a freedom and support and saying that I'm there for you, then all the children will be like our Shika. So Shika, if they don't have the family like yours, you're so lucky, and I also consider myself so lucky. If we have to speak to women who didn't have that kind of a freedom, and they have very controlling parents, and they created a lot of blocks for themselves. So what is your advice for such women? Because I have just literally I was reading your intro, and it gave me like really a wow feeling, because you are able to do so many things, especially when I said that she's a registered TED Circle host. And then you are Shine HR as a guest speaker. So many people have been inviting you for so many. You are doing podcasting, you are founding ambassador of CSR, you are into many CSR activities, and you are a career coach. So many things you're doing. I attribute to your parents. A lot of credit goes to your parents and the exposure you had, of visiting various countries. Not everybody will have this kind of environment. What do you suggest for all these women who didn't have these opportunities, and how do they get that confidence? How can they take that baby step towards starting something of speaking for themselves? Give me one action tip from today onwards. They can do this.
Okay. Yes, you're absolutely right, Vimla. I have been very fortunate to have such a wonderful childhood, wonderful set of parents, environment, exposure. But I also started with baby steps. I wasn't doing all of this maybe even a year back or 2 years back. COVID gave me that opportunity now that we are working from home, right? And you're disconnected from the social circle, those social events, forums, seminars, conferences, everything stopped. I said, God damn, Shikha. I mean, and I'm one person who just cannot sit at home, right? How do you connect to the outside world? That's when I said, okay, I was anyway helping in a lot of other CSR initiatives in person because I was able to go out. Now I'm not able to go out. So can I look for avenues where I can collaborate with certain CSR organizations online and do stuff for them? So, I mean, that's one part of it. As far as the advice is concerned, it doesn't matter if you did not have all the exposure or infrastructure or support or whatever. You have a mind of your own, you have your education, you have your experience, you have all of that with you. Now, what use you make of it, or how do you put all that to use? It's up to you. For me, I think one thing that I want to tell the women is decide on one or two things that you want to do and you want to pursue for a long time, right? For example, when I registered as a TED Circles host, right, it went back and forth. They will interview you, they will ask you for your papers because they want to know how serious you are about this whole initiative. And TED is a global community, right? So having that commitment, yes, I am going to run TED Circles month on month, rain, shine, volcano, earthquake, doesn't matter. So that commitment is very important. Even before you commit to something, choose one or two or three, depending on the time you have in hand. What are those 2-3 things you want to focus on? Once you narrow down on those 2-3 things that you want to focus on, then you decide how much time and commitment you can give to each. And then take them forward for a period of 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever the duration of that initiative is. during that process, what happens is not only do you learn a lot, but you also grow, right? You grow as a person, you build your network, you gain certain popularity. It gives you satisfaction. For me, my parents have always been coaching and mentoring and helping students and women in distress. So I think most of it comes to me quite naturally because I've seen them doing that all their life, right? So I said, and that's what dad says, life is only so much. Give, give, give. Just be a giver. And it's been many years I've been like that or seeing him doing that. So just give. And it feels good.
Yeah.
But you have to decide what is it that aligns with your thoughts, with your dreams, with your passion. Pick up those 2, 3 things and then give it your time and commitment.
My next question will be, one is the decision they have to make. My next question for you will be, how do they manage their time? You do so many things, but most of the women are obsessed with their kitchen work, their children. They are giving themselves so much to take care of the family. How do they manage? And they're unable to say no to so many things. And some of them are living with joint family. So practically, they say, Vimla, it's easy for you to speak with people and say that they might be having so many maids and cook and all those, but I'm not able to do that. So how do they manage the time?
Nobody has multiple maids and cooks other than if you're like the Dilip Kumar family or the Bachchan family or the Tom Cruise family and all that, right? Those guys are blessed with some 7, 8, 10 servants, right? Life is not like that for a common man, right? Obviously, just like every other woman, I also have a support system. I have a maid, I have a cook, right, who do the basics. But then beyond that, it is important one to prioritize. What are your negotiables and non-negotiable? What is it that you can compromise? For me, my office work, for example, is non-negotiable. Right? That's my primary responsibility. I'm paid to do a certain job. I have a responsibility towards Venvire Technologies. So, what is your negotiable and non-negotiable? Second, you have to prioritize. What are the 3 things or 4 things that you have to do or want to do versus say during the weekdays versus what you can push towards the weekend. And I will say something which is not an advice. Women don't take that, but then I compromise on my sleep a lot. I'm not this person who can sleep for 7, 8 hours. I'm good with 5 hours, right? And I get up early in the morning and try and finish if I have pending stuff with one of these initiatives that I'm doing.
Me too. Yeah, I started developing dark circles. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. I started developing dark circles. Me too. I can't sleep if I have some work. So I'll catch up someday. I'll catch up that sleep in that week someday. But I sit, it is not advisable, but still, when you're so ambitious and when you're starting something, in the initial years, we have to put those time, no, though we say work for only 4 hours, that is not possible. I appreciate that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So, yeah, sure. So, plan, prioritize. And third thing, which most of us don't do, and I'm sure a lot of women don't do, ask your family to support. Yeah, you have in laws at home, you have children at home, you have a spouse at home. Ask everybody to support with the household work. Maybe little stuff that everybody can contribute. You, as that pivotal point, doesn't have to keep doing 360-degree all the time. Maybe your children can do a little bit, maybe your in-laws can do a little bit. Ask the whole ecosystem to support you in that journey now that you're working from home, right? Once you get back to office, then you know, okay, after 9 o'clock, somebody else has to take care of things. And after 6 o'clock, once I am back home, I can do 1, 2, 3 things. Between 9 to 6, anyway, they were managing, right? When you were at work. How was your household running when you were at office?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah, I like to interrupt here. Most of the women like the feeling of creating that dependency. You know, they feel secure when they do everything. They do everything and they want to feel that people are depending on me. They are creating that feeling. I hope you understand. Most of them, they want to be the center of attraction. No, everybody has to depend on them. Children have to
It
depend on
reminded
you.
me of this movie. It was called Helicopter Ila. It was by Kajol, right? Whose life revolves around the sun 24 by 7,
Yeah.
right? And that child ends up getting so frustrated during the process. He's like, what the heck, Ma? You have to have a life of your own. Think beyond me, right? So then she started, I don't know, she started learning some music, she started teaching somewhere and all that. So helicopter Ila. So all of us don't have to become that helicopter Ila of the houses. And in-laws have to depend on me, husband has to depend, kids have to depend. Some people have dogs, pets also have to depend on me. Your office is anyway depending on you, right? Because you owe a certain responsibility towards your work. No, please distribute work. Whoever can do whichever tasks to the best of their ability, let that person do. How do you find time for yourself? And just like you, Vimla, before I end my day, I take those 30 minutes, maybe 12 in the night, 1 o'clock in the night, where it's just I, me, myself. That's my me time, right? I could be watching TV, I could be browsing Facebook. I love gaming. I play games on my mobile phone. So that's just me. That 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever whatever I'm able to steal from those 24 hours a day, that's me time. Or it could be reading some article, whatever I love doing. So every woman, one does not need to become that center of dependence or attraction. You're taking too much on yourself. I have, of course, no names. I have people who've gone into depression because of that. Because the house and the office both took a toll on the person, right? Literally cases who are going through depression treatment because they were not able to manage so much. You think you're doing it, you think you're very happy, you enjoy all the attention, but how is it affecting the mental health? Have you ever thought about it? You're physically tired because you're running around the house managing things. You also have to manage your boss and your work. What impact is it having on your mental health? Have you ever thought about that? So it's not easy. You just have to calm down, take a deep breath, analyze literally what is it that you're doing, what is it that you want to do, especially where does your heart lie. Not that I have extra hours. I kind of plan, I kind of prioritize. Like I said, I compromise on sleep, but I won't advise your viewers to compromise on sleep.
Yeah.
Everybody's body is different, right? But then I love doing things, and this ultimate satisfaction, when somebody gets a job because of you, some woman feels good because of you, that's a different high. I think that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. That's the thing women are not realizing, that when they scale up, they're going to be of more value than outside their home. So they can help more people. They don't understand that. Okay, I want to ask one more question. People who are like to take positions like you in HR, what is that secret of uh, uh, being so powerful, Shika? How do they take that power seat? What is your secret? You are
For me,
head.
there is no secret to power or to success. For me, hard work is the only secret. I know a lot of people talk about smart work.
What is that special thing in you which will make you take up that? You are the HR leader with 18 years of rich and diverse work experience, and you are the head of many things. You are the global speaker, you are a corporate mentor, you're a career coach. You have taken a lot of leadership positions. But some people who are already there in the HR field, but they want to take that top position. What is the advice for you? From you, I'm sorry.
Sure. See, taking a top position, you don't have to take that top position and then perform. You grow as a leader. You exhibit certain qualities, you exhibit certain potential, you exhibit certain caliber, where the person feels, no, she is not good as an individual contributor, but she probably can lead a project, she can lead a team, she can lead a function, right? She has all those elements of being a team player, being a collaborator, being a leader, So you work your way up, right? You demonstrate those qualities. You execute certain things in such a fashion that you're known as a leader, you're called as a leader, right? You don't become so for me, leadership is not becoming a vice president. You will anyway become, after 20, 40, 80 years of experience, you will anyway become, because depending on your experience, you keep getting promoted. But, a position for me is not leadership. You can be a leader even if you have, say, 5 years of experience or 10 years of experience in your sphere of work. If you have executed something beautifully, successfully, end to end, with all those qualities that I just highlighted, you are a leader. People see you that way. People want to follow you. People see you as a role model, right? So you must have done something right over there for people to follow you, right? Or learn from you. Or, when people start getting inspired from you. I think that is what matters. I mean, titles and designations are just very, very fancy, Vimla. Right?
That's what the world understands, Shikha. But that's all the world understands. Shikha, one question. What are the books you read and who are your mentors? Because, apart from your parents, what are the books you usually read?
I am not a book reader, very surprisingly, but I read articles. I love reading articles or short stories. It could be about HR, it could be about, I don't know, any topic that excites me. I'm not this person who can read 1,000-page book, right? But I read articles. It could be, what are the best practices in recruiting today? It could be about anything, digital transformation and stuff like that. So I'm an article person. I cannot read books types. It's too long. The suspense is too long. Yes, when I was studying in college, I would read fiction, right? Sidney Sheldon and all of that. Maybe that craze was different at that time. But after that, I think I've just been short stories or, somebody who reads articles.
You don't read any management books?
I follow Forbes. I follow HBR. Those are the ones I follow. And they give me a lot of insights. Some of the stuff which is published by NHRD as well. So HBR and Forbes are my best bets.
Yeah.
ET at times. Yeah. So
true. So who can take help from you, from my audience? What kind of help they can take from you?
If you ask me any kind of help, you are okay. Let's broaden the spectrum. If you're a woman, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Any kind of help. If you're on a career break, you're looking for a job, please feel free to approach me. If you're looking for some advice, some counseling, more than happy to help. If you're looking at, getting mentored in a particular HR area, HR domain, right? Please feel free to reach out anytime. And I do all of this just pro bono. It feels good then at the end of the day. You make a difference to somebody's life. It just feels good, right? So anything, job support, career support, counseling, mentoring, empowerment, lot of stuff that I can fill somebody with motivation, inspiration, give direction to people who are lost. I think that's my best, that's my forte. Give some sense of direction to people who are literally lost either in their lives or in their career.
Okay. Thank you. And one final question will be, you are part of the TEDx co-host. So if someone wants to become a TED speaker, most of their bucket list will be in becoming a TED speaker. What is your advice?
Hone your public speaking skills. That's very important. Second, I think content, right? It's always good to present your individual perspective, right? Say, for example, every TEDx talk has a topic, right? Rather than saying what's written in those management books, what a Bill Gates said, or what Steve Jobs has to say, or what Narendra Modi has to say, what does Shikha have to say? What does Vimla have to say? Your individual approach, your individual perspective about any subject, any content, I think that is what makes you unique. back it up with data, statistics, industry practices, insights. But people are interested in listening to what Vimla feels about it, right? So that's one. And the first one is what I said is hone your public speaking skills, right? Because TEDx is a big platform. It attracts international audience. And if confidence, conviction, and the right language is very important. I think those are the few points I would emphasize on.
Yeah. And regarding your, you are also from WICC, president of that. So what are the responsibilities you hold and how you can help women?
WICCI is a women empowerment organization. It's headed by Dr. Harbeen Arora. I manage the Karnataka chapter for Human Resource Council. And we get a lot of women on our platform, on our different talk shows, right? Who need some visibility, who need some limelight. Like last week, we celebrated International Animal Welfare Day. And we got 3 different women who are working in this space, right? With abandoned turtles, with abandoned dogs, stray dogs, and all that. So it's so good to hear them out, people who are doing some work in this space. And every Thursday, we do a talk show and we invite such people from different segments of life. And every week, the theme changes. So depending on what United Nations is celebrating as themes, it could be LGBTQ, it could be animal welfare, it could be anything. Every week we change the theme. We reach out to the women fraternity across India and we tell them, we want you on our talk show to talk about your story. What are you doing? How are you helping in these different areas? That also connects them to the different business opportunities because we go Facebook Live and there are many people who watch it. So some people connect with my speakers, right, for a business opportunity or for some deal, stuff like that. So empowering women in whichever manner we can. We publish their stories, we publish their articles, and then we get them on our talk show. So visibility, limelight, a platform where they can showcase their skills, their work, that's what we do. And yeah, we're 5 months strong.
Beautiful. And I'm so inspired myself listening to you, and you're doing so many things. I think it calls for a lot of discipline more than anything else. Thank you so much for coming on my show, Shikha. And you are a true inspiration for, I think so many people are going to get inspired. And I'm going to share all your details in the description box and they can connect with you and take help. Thank you so much.
We should collaborate, Vimla, to do something together, I'm sure. I think we should do something together on Wiki. You yourself are such a great inspiration. You talk to people, you bring the best out in them. You've made me feel so special on your show. Trust me.
Thank
it feels
you.
Good.
Thank you so much. We will catch up again and we have to do something together as well. Yeah?
Yes, we have to, for sure.
Thank you so much, Shikha, for coming on the show. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you. So that's it from me and Shikha, guys. I'll come back again with another show with another interesting, inspiring person. Hope you all heard what Shikha said. We can accommodate many hats in our daily lives and women can rock. So stop thinking about your mental blocks. Stop thinking about what you don't have and start baby steps from today onwards. Thank you. Like, share, and subscribe and connect with Shikha. I'll share all the details about Shikha in the description box. Anything to do with jobs, you can contact Shikha and take her help. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shikha. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.